All right. Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with the Mission Ready Financial Independence workshop that we're doing tonight. We're super excited to have everyone here and to chat a little bit about, TSPs, SGLIs, and maybe some other tax-free options that are out there. We're going to be covering all of that this evening with myself and some of the other keynote speakers that we have. So just to kick it off a little bit, I want to introduce myself to everyone. We'll go ahead and go to the next slide here. So just a little bit about me really quick. Currently, I'm in the military out of Fort Bliss, Texas. But I wanted to join the finance world and finance industry for a few different reasons. One thing that I really lacked when I enlisted was a financial understanding, in particular, the military finance. I don't know if anyone else had the same kind of experience I did, but you get into the reception, you're going to basic training, and they say, hey, we signed you up for SGLI, which is the life insurance, and traditional TSP. But that was pretty much it, right? They didn't really go into how to optimize those things, and they didn't quite dive into why that's important. So something I'm very passionate about is bringing financial literacy to other service members. This is just real quick in my bio as well. I've been in the service for a little over 4 years now, but have a little over 3 years of industry experience here. So just really quick, I wanted to go to the next slide. We're going to go over a little bit on the agenda on what we're going to be discussing. We're going to be talking about who we are, what we do as an organization, break down the group life insurance, also the veterans group life insurance, because at the end of the day, no matter where you're at, you're not going to be in the military forever, hopefully. So there is a time where you are going to get out. So we are going to talk about that. We're going to briefly talk about the Thrift Savings Plan as well. And then other options for your money, some tax-free alternatives and solutions. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Real quick, I want to introduce one of the guys that's going to be a keynote speaker here this evening. This is Mr. Mario Fragomeno. Okay, he's been in the industry for over a decade, numerous military clients. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the time over to him, and he's going to take it from here.
All right. Thank you for the introduction, Ammon. And Ammon is right. So I have a lot of experience working with active servicemen, veterans, and main reason being is I did live in San Diego County for over a decade. And as you know, San Diego is a big military city. The Marines, the Navy, a lot of other great military people down there. So I did have the opportunity to talk life insurance, retirement, different options for the money. So we're going to cover everything tonight. But a little bit about myself. I grew up in Pasadena, California. That's in Los Angeles County here in Southern California. My original background was civil engineering. It was my mentor during lunch one day that told me, Mario, have you ever considered a career in financial services? And I thought he was crazy because much like all of us, I didn't know anything about finances. That's why I love Ammon's story is, you get started in the military, you go to boot camp, and all of a sudden they automatically enroll you. They did the same exact thing with me, but they did it in corporate America, where I started my job and my career as engineer, and they automatically enrolled me in a 401k plan, a group life insurance plan. I didn't know what it was. I did it because my mom told me to do it. And all of a sudden, I had money going from my paycheck into this retirement plan, but I didn't know how it works. So we're going to cover that tonight, right? So fast forward, I transitioned careers from civil engineering into financial advising. I've been doing this for over a decade now, and today I'm one of the senior partners, and my favorite types of clients are the military. So we're going to cover it today, right? But enough about me. Let's go ahead and get right into it. And we're going to keep it high level today, right? We're going to talk about some key benefits the military has. Of course, if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us, set up a one-on-one consultation. We'll be glad to meet with you. But let's talk about what the government sets up here for the military. The biggest one is going to be with the military. We offer a lot of different services, okay, that connect with the military benefits. So a lot of times when we sit down with military people, they tell us, well, I have benefits to the military. I don't need to work with these different companies that you do business with. And I tell them, look, that's not true. There's advantages and disadvantages to everything. Because we're able to privatize retirement and set up wonderful benefits outside of the military, a winning financial plan is when you're doing some of all of it. Okay, so we help clients with retirement, IRAs, Roth IRAs, index annuities, mutual funds, life insurance, long-term care, college education planning. So great financial planning on top of what the military has to offer. And we're able to do business with private companies outside of the US government. Some big names that you're familiar with: Nationwide, Pacific Life, Transamerica, Athene, Prudential. These are the A-rated financial companies, and we're doing business with them on purpose. We want our clients investing their money with the best of the best. More importantly, though, we want our clients investing their money with companies that are actually going to be there for them as they enter the most important years of their life, which is going to be retirement. Okay, so amazing setup. We're all about educating people on what they have, what their options are, filling in any potential gaps they may have in their financial plan. One thing that I've learned over the years is everyone is different. Everyone has a different opinion, a different risk tolerance. So what you might think is good for your friend or family member could be completely different for what you're looking to do. So we take a customized and tailored approach to really building what you need, not what your uncle says or what you read on the internet. So really customized approach. But let's talk about those benefits. The first one that we run into is going to be what we call the SGLI, the Servicemen's Group Life Insurance. Like Ammon mentioned, as soon as you get enrolled, they enlist you into this program. But I'm going to jump on the actual website and show you the pricing of it. One thing I run into is people that are active, they don't realize how key this benefit could be. So one exciting thing about the SGLI is very low cost premiums, right? Based on your age. The military does increments every 5 years, but the benefits are there, right? Low cost premiums while you're active, up to 500,000 in coverage. A second thing, and this happens a lot to civilians, where we sit down, we discuss life insurance, we apply for coverage, and unfortunately, they're unable to get life insurance in the private sector because they simply don't qualify. What's great about the SGLI is automatic coverage with no medical exam. So if you have a pre-existing condition, or if you have a condition that might make life insurance too expensive, well, it doesn't matter. You automatically get covered, part of that low cost premium, huge benefit. Another great thing is once you get discharged or your honorable discharge and you decide to leave the military, you can actually convert your SGLI to what they call as a VGLI. And we're going to talk about that in greater details as well, and what the pricing and how exactly the VGLI works. Well, understand it's only available for active duty. Okay, the VGLI kicks in for the veterans, but like everything, there's advantages and disadvantages. Some limitations are going to be coverage does end shortly after service. Okay, we're going to show what the amount of time you have before you convert it to SGLI to VGLI. If you wait too long, they will require a medical exam. Okay, we're going to talk about that window. And 500,000 might not be enough, right? I'm in Southern California, a lot of great Marines, a lot of Navy. Southern California is quite expensive, right? The average house now is $850,000 in San Diego. So if someone only has 500,000 in coverage, that might not cover the mortgage. More importantly, if they are family men and they have a couple children, 500,000 is quite short when it comes to amount of coverage. So that is a limitation with the SGLI. So we always recommend, hey, take advantage of it. Take the up to 500,000. If you need additional coverage, well, let's open up a private policy outside the military so that you could get that 1 million, 1.5, 2 million in coverage, whatever your family needs. Also, you're renting life insurance. So when you're renting life insurance, you're not developing what's called cash value or a savings account within your policy. Think of it like renting an apartment versus owning a home. When you're renting an apartment, there is no equity there. You're simply renting. Same thing with the SGLI. You're renting coverage. You're not developing any cash value or any equity. And you cannot add any bells and whistles or what we call as riders to it. Long-term care, terminal illness rider, chronic illness, critical illness. These are all components that you're able to add on the private sector. When it comes to the SGLI, it's just renting coverage up to a certain amount, and it's life and death only. No protection when it comes to what we call the living benefits. Okay, that's the SGLI. Now, what is the VGLI? This is for veterans. Okay, so it does convert when you're part of the SGLI program, but you do have to convert it on your own to meet certain qualifications. We're going to cover that in a little bit. Can be maintained for life if premiums are paid. Now, when it comes to the premiums, though, the premiums do increase every 5 years. I'm going to show you those numbers, right? There's a lot of value when it comes to the VGLI. You could get up to $500,000 in coverage for a low monthly amount. As soon as you start hitting 50 and then 55 to 60 to 65, it starts going into a pretty large monthly amount where most veterans I sit down and say, look, this isn't cost effective anymore. I do not want to spend $500 to $800 to $1,000 a month in life insurance. So then they discontinue the program. Then the family has no protection when a veteran's in their 50s and 60s. Okay. And no medical exam required if converted within 240 days. So that key is 240 days. You could still get coverage after 240. However, after 240 days, you will have to go through what we call as underwriting, which is accelerated approval or a full medical exam based on your condition. Another thing they have is going to be, hey, group life insurance. If you're part of a federal employee, you're part of the military, maybe you're a civilian on base, you could be part of the group life insurance plan, structured like VGLI. But once again, it is a group plan available to some retirees. Okay, but I'm going to switch gears here and I'm going to go to the website. So what's great about the government is they do a fantastic job of breaking down the benefits you have. Since it's public, they have to show it on the websites. Okay, so the website you want to go to, if you haven't been here already, is strictly going to be va.gov. And I just clicked on the benefits and it took me to more additional information on the SGLI. A lot of rules here, but what I want to focus on is the value that you have when it comes to the amount of coverage. Okay, the website does a great job of showing your age and how much it's going to cost. So look, if you simply want $500,000 in coverage, you're active serviceman, part of the group life insurance, you're barely looking at $31 a month. That is a steal when it comes to life insurance and when it comes to protection. Okay. But not everyone is going to be in the military for life. A lot of people I sit down with, they do 4 years, 8 years, 4 years, 2 years reserve. Everyone is different, but eventually you're going to become a veteran. So after, you must convert that to a VGLI. A lot of great benefits as well, but I want to show what happens to the pricing of the VGLI when it comes to as you get more senior in life. 1 second here. Where are you? Okay, so here's a VGLI. Automatic conversion. Remember the 240-day rule. You want to convert it before 240 days so that you don't have to go to underwriting. But they keep it very cut and dry. They're simply going to go based on your age, right? So let's say you're 40, 44. For 500,000 in coverage, you're only going to have to pay $80 a month. That seems pretty good. But the way it's structured is every 5 years, the price is going to increase. Okay, so what we like to do is set up a private life insurance plan where you can lock in the price for 30 years. We call it a 30-year term policy. The price does not go up every 5 years. You lock it in while you're young, and it's quite effective because you can see here, someone that's 50, 165, and then it starts getting real pricey, $300 a month. And then once you start getting to the 70s, now you're looking at $1,100 a month. So someone that's in their 30s and 40s and even early 50s, you could get a 30-year policy for up to $1 million, $2 million. That's way less than $1,000 a month. That's how we're really able to help out the veterans when it comes to life insurance. Okay, so that's going to be protection. That's going to be life insurance. Another key component that the military is able to get is what's called a TSP, which is a Thrift Savings Plan. This is your version of a employer-sponsored retirement plan. So you might have heard someone that has a 401k or 403b or 457, and you're wondering, how come we don't get a 401k? It all depends on who is your employer. So if you're active military, your employer is going to be the U.S. government. So they initiate something called a TSP, a Thrift Savings Plan. It's a defined contribution retirement plan for federal employees and military personnel. It includes both traditional and Roth TSP options. What is the difference? Traditional is you pay no taxes today, then you pay taxes when you withdraw the money from your TSP. The Roth option is you pay taxes today and then you never pay taxes ever again. So if you're unsure on which way to go, this is why you need to meet with us. We explain the difference. We show the numbers, the amount of savings and taxes, see if it applies to you, and then you can select, let me do traditional or let me do Roth. Also, what's great about it is the fees within the TSP compared to other programs like the 401k and other national retirement plans is quite low compared to the private sector. So once again, being active military, being a veteran, you do have wonderful benefits, but we always recommend keep these benefits, but also add additional benefits from the private sector to really start building that strong financial plan for you. Okay. Now, automatic payroll deductions. It's easy to invest. You sign up for it, all of a sudden your paycheck, money's going into the TSP, it's set up for you automatically. Some military actually gives you a match now. If you've put in 4%, 6%, they'll give you free money. You never want to give up free money. Once again, tax deferred or tax-free growth, depending if you go traditional or Roth, and low-cost index funds. We'll jump on the website real quick. I'll show you the difference between a C fund, S fund, I fund. The military did come out with new funds. They're called target retirement funds based on someone's birthday. We'll cover that as well. But like anything, advantages and limitations. Within a TSP, you're limited on what you could do. You cannot do individual stocks. You can't do bonds. You can't do certain types of investments. You're limited. Also, you have withdrawal restrictions. The 59.5 rule, which really impacts all of us, especially for younger people. I remember when I started my 401k, I said, man, I can't touch that money till I'm 59.5. If I do, that's a 10% penalty. That's a long time from now, right? So great advantages, some limitations. Loan options exist. Okay, one great benefit of the TSP is you can take a loan against it if you do need it for emergency. Maybe you need it for a financial bill, maybe a down payment on the home, even though you do get the VA 0% down. A lot of my clients say, hey, I'm going to get the 0% down. I'm going to get the mortgage, but I do need to furnish my place. And furniture could cost 5 up to 20 grand, depending on how big of a house you get and how many rooms you want. Or maybe you want to remodel the backyard. You can take a loan against your TSP. Okay. But let's jump on the website here and let me show you what your options are. And once again, they do a fantastic, fantastic job of really breaking down the TSP. Okay, so this is the homepage. If you haven't been here, that's going to be your first step. Make sure that you log in, you create your account, you see where your money is, get a statement, get a quarterly statement, get an annual statement, understand what your TSP is doing. One mistake I see that happens is people get enrolled in it and they assume that everything is okay. But when I sit down with them, I said, look, do you realize you are part of the G fund? Okay, and the G fund is simply investing money in government securities. It's the most conservative fund that the TSP has. So there's been times where people say, hey, Mar, I've been putting away money. I've been participating in my TSP for the last 8 years. Money's going into it. It's growing. And then we do a review of the statement, and we notice that all their money is going towards the G fund. And they're thinking, look, my account is growing, it's going up, which it is, but the G fund is the most conservative, right? On average, it's paid about, you can see, lifetime 4.65%. This year, it's done barely 3%. In the last 5 years, it's done 2.62%. So you're thinking you're doing something right, but your money's not really making money. So what you're able to do is reallocate it through what I recommend, which will be the C fund, where your money's invested in the S&P 500. Because look at the difference. Just this year alone, the C fund has done almost 20%. The G fund has done 2.97%. So you could go ultra conservative, or you could take on a little more risk, which is going to be the stock market. That's going to be based on your personality. But you do have the ability to switch which funds you do want to be on, whether it's the new money you put in or the post money. Okay, so that's one thing that we could definitely help you out with, is making sure that you are part of the right fund. Okay, and the website's fantastic. It does talk about the loans. It talks about additional information. They have videos. Highly recommend, if you haven't gone to your tsp.gov website, take advantage of it. You're going to thank yourself later. Okay, now, why talk about investing? Why save money? What are some risks that really start playing a role when it comes to retirement? The first one is going to be market risk. The US stock market's at record highs, highest it's ever been. We have rising taxes, the national debt, we have health issues, fees, emotions, all of this will factor into your retirement lifestyle. Another thing that factors in is going to be money goes down much faster than it goes back up. So the biggest thing is, when the market goes down, people think that, hey, if it goes down 10%, I only need to go up 10% to break even. That's not true at all. You can see a 10% downturn, you need to go up 11%, 20%, 25%, 30%, 43%. And if we have a stock market crash like we had in 2008, 2009, where the stock market dropped 50%, 50, it takes 100% to get back to even, right? So returns to recover are much more difficult. This is why we work with you, we protect your assets, but more importantly, we teach you on what else is out there. So Miss Angie Lopera, she's going to finish off the workshop. She's going to talk about some alternative strategies that we do on a weekly basis for our military clients. Keep doing the TSP, do your VGLI, do your SGLI, but what else is out there that we recommend adding to your overall financial plan? She's going to talk about it and cover it right now.
All righty. Thank you so much, Mario. And I want to first say thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for being here tonight with us. I know you could be here doing anything else, but you're here taking advantage of this seminar, taking advantage of this valuable information, and most importantly, taking control of your own future. Just like Mario, I don't have a background in finance. I've been in the industry now for almost 12 years. And one of the reasons why I got into the industry was because I personally, even myself, didn't have this information. I know we're focused today on TSP, SGLI, GLI, VGLI, all these different benefits that you guys have. But in the private sector, I used to be a business analyst in healthcare, but I didn't know how my 401k worked. I didn't know how I was allocating my money. I didn't know how I was gonna be growing my money in these different ways to reach that financial security and that financial stability. And so when I got introduced to a lot of these services or a lot of this information, it was mind blowing to me that I was at the time getting my master's degree and I did not know how to actually grow my money. And so I became really passionate about not only providing this information for people, but educating. Financial security and financial independence is attainable for all of us. We just need to make sure that we have that knowledge. And they say knowledge is power, but where I really truly believe that the power lies is apply knowledge. You have to implement, you have to apply the knowledge and the information that you're getting to be more powerful. So let's get into some options. And Mario really cover all these different benefits, but what else? What else can we do with our money? And what are some of the options that we have to complement what you already have going on? And so a lot of times people think it's stop doing what you're doing, and it's not really the case, but it's about understanding what you have, what you don't have, and how we could bridge that gap. So for instance, I have here 3 different buckets, 3 different type of accounts. And what you're going to see is that all of these 3 different accounts are going to grow your money in different ways. And some of them, specifically the fixed category, is not necessarily growing your money, but it serves its purpose. And so you have to understand what objective you have with your money, what are you going to use it for, and what is the ultimate objective that you're going to be implementing some of the strategies for yourself. So in the fixed category, as you could see, those are accounts like CDs, a savings account, a checking account, essentially an account in the bank. savings for emergency funds, where you know that you need accessibility, liquidity to your funds. If you have an emergency, you want to make sure that you go to the ATM, you grab that money and it's available. And so those accounts are very particular for those specific objectives. Now, on the variable category is the category where the TSP is, or the 401ks, or brokerage accounts, or Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, where you're going to have that volatility of the stock market. Depending on where it's allocated, depending on where our funds are, we're going to be able to have that upside, that unlimited upside potential. Some years, fantastic. The market is performing and we're able to actually get those double digits returns. But on the opposite, we also just heard from Mario as well. What happens when the market doesn't perform, and what happens when there's actually downside markets? Well, we are at risk. We are at risk with our principal. We're at risk with our money. And it takes a lot more to get back to where we were to recover from those losses. So what we want to actually emphasize on some additional accounts that sometimes we find ourselves not only, again, complementing or enhancing, maybe when it makes sense, the TSP could be repositioned into index categories or 401ks, depending again on what we have in place and what our objectives are. But in the index category is those accounts that are going to combine the best of both worlds, the safety with the upside potential. So as you could see here, you have a staircase-like, because even though we are getting some of those, that performance of the stock market, only when it goes up, because when it goes down, then we have the guarantees in place. We have the security. We have the protection that we have in a fixed account. But we have the upside that we have in a variable account as well. So again, that's what we want to combine, the best of both worlds. And what we find is that most people have fixed accounts, they have variable accounts, but they don't have anything in the index category. And so again, it's about complementing, it's about enhancing, it's about making sure that you are diversified within your portfolio to take advantage of all the different accounts and growing your money in different ways. I was actually having a conversation with one of my clients earlier this week, and it was that type of conversation. It was like, hey, we have this great account we set up, but it's about putting other accounts in place to make sure that you're growing your money in different ways. And so let's talk about one specific index account that I want to introduce to you today. And maybe you're aware of it, maybe you're familiar with this type of account, but essentially is one of our most popular accounts because we're covering a lot of different benefits within one strategy in itself. And so one of them is going to be what we call the life. And before I go into the life insurance and these other strategies, let's actually cover tax-free solutions, because a lot of times this is actually one of the conversations that I also have, and it's where do I actually save my money that is going to be tax-free? And so Mario mentioned one of them, TSP, but in the Roth category, where you're going to be able to actually invest your money and you're not going to have to pay taxes in the distribution at the distribution moment. But other categories, one of them is going to be the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA, it's a great strategy in the variable category where you could actually save up to $7,000 a year if you're 49 years or younger. If you're 50 years or older, you have what's called a catch-up period where you're putting a little bit more, that's $8,000, but there's also some limitations. Again, the limitation is going to be the variable, it goes up and down, and you also have some income limitations. So if you're making a certain amount of income, about $161,000 a year as a single person, or about $240,000 as a married couple, well, some of my clients are not able to put money into these accounts now because they don't want to, but because they can't. And so that other strategy that I was going to mention in the index category, this is it. We call it life insurance risk protection plan. And essentially, again, we're using a lot of different benefits within one strategy. And so it's an index account that we're using protection as well. So it's a life insurance as a wealth building tool that we're using, again, for many different benefits. And so if you have your private insurance already, maybe it's taking a look at what you have. Maybe it's adding another source of income or another source of protection that creates a different benefit for yourself. But again, it's not one size fits all. It's all different for all of us. All of us have different financial goals. All of us have different dreams. And so it varies from person to person, and every plan is tailored for each of our clients. So when it comes to this plan, again, it's using life insurance. And when it comes to life insurance, we could be here 2 hours alone talking about private life insurance, but I won't do that. I promise I'm almost done. So in this case, we have $200,000 death benefit. God forbid something happens, we have that additional coverage that will cover our families. So in this category, we also have some additional benefits, and those are living benefits, because a lot of times what I find is that clients don't want to talk about death. And yes, it's an uncomfortable conversation. However, what if we could talk about a plan that could stay with you and that could actually be used while you're alive? In case of a cancer, a stroke, dementia, maybe a major accident, and you have to recover, you have to take time off from work, maybe you need assisted living, and you could actually use the $200,000 while you're alive, and that's what's called the living benefit. And so again, tailored for each individual, that's an optional solution there. But let's say that this client has a premium on a monthly basis. Just like any type of coverage, we're going to have a monthly premium, and that depends on age, sex, and health. So many times I've heard my clients that are older say, man, I wish I would have talked to you 10 years ago because my life insurance is way more expensive now. And so keep that in mind. The younger you are, the better it is to lock in those prices on the premium for your life insurance and your coverage. But what else is about this? What else about this account? Well, the other component about this account is that this insurance company will allow us to put a little bit extra money, again, as a wealth building tool. So let's assume that this client has a budget of $500. And again, every plan is different. So what I'm giving you here today is concept. So $500 a month, we already said, hey, 60 of that is going towards the cost of insurance. $440 is going towards the cash accumulation bucket, the savings component. So the savings component is going to be mirroring one of the indices. That's why it's an index universal life. It's the actual technical term for this type of account. And so a lot of times people are familiar with whole life policies that, again, they serve a different purpose. And in this case, is the way that the account grows within the strategy in itself that allows this account to be called index and take advantage of the performance of the stock market, in this case, the S&P 500. But what else? What happens when the market goes down? What happens when the market is not performing? Well, we have something called a floor. That's why in the previous graph, there's a staircase-like type of component, because if we have a downside market, this type of account is going to have that protection in place that will allow us to avoid that volatility and that risk. What else? Well, the trade-off on this account. The trade-off is that this account is going to be a little bit more conservative. It's not going to be so aggressive, maybe like a TSP or 401k or a brokerage account where you have unlimited upside potential. This account in average returns could give you 6 to 9%. But in some years, double digits. So let's actually play it out. If, let's say, for instance, the market does 10% in this case, the first year, well, our clients are getting that 10%. You're between that floor, that cap, that 10% goes into the savings component. What about the market going down? Well, this is when this type of account makes all the sense in the world, because it's not about a good market. When it's a good market, your accounts are going to be performing in the stock market, and anybody that is investing are making money in a good market. But it's about how much money of your money is protected when their market is not performing and there's losses. Well, if your money or a percentage of your money is in this type of account, you're not losing that 10%, and you're not losing anything the second year of contributions. You lock in that 10% in the stock market. Unfortunately, we lost that 10% and some additional principal. What about if it comes back up? Well, great. In the stock market, we are recovering from those losses. Here, we just pick up where we left off. We have the maximum that is a 13% return, and we're able to make that 13%, but so on and so forth. So the idea is that if, again, the market goes down, we have that protection in place. We have that floor. We're not going to be exposed to that volatility. So does it make sense for all of our money? Maybe not all of our money, but it makes sense for a percentage of our money if we're looking to protect our assets, if we're looking to create that upside potential, and again, take advantage of that insurance component. But why are we doing this type of account and structure this way? Well, the reason why is because whatever we accumulate in the savings component, we get it 100% tax-free. It's another tool that it has an internal, this type of account has an internal revenue code that protects this type of policies from being taxable and is very favorable when it comes to taxes. And that's why we're complementing our clients' portfolios, whether it is complementing a TSP or complementing IRAs. Regardless, there is a place for this type of accounts in someone's portfolio just because it creates diversification within the strategies itself. So as I'm finishing here tonight, final thoughts. Well, ideally, you want to make sure that you take advantage of your benefits. Take advantage of your military benefits that's a great starting point. But at some point, you definitely want to start combining with other financial tools and other financial products that will benefit you and your family. Use your TSP for retirement, but supplement it with other retirement tools. Again, it could be this IUL, it could be a Roth IRA, it could be a brokerage account, but diversify your investments to minimize the risk and also maximize your returns. Evaluate your life insurance as well. As you saw and as you heard from Mario, myself, there's other different accounts, different strategies that are going to be based on your family size, your debts, your financial goals. It all varies and also depends on how long you're in the military and how long are you going to be taking advantage of those additional coverage. Regularly review and adjust your plan. I always tell my clients, hey, it's not one size fits all. It's not one sit down and that's it. It's an ongoing development process. Make sure that you revisit your plan, that you are seeking a financial professional or financial guidance so that you can make sure that you're on track for your financial goals. So once again, thank you so much for your time tonight. Be mission ready. Be mission ready for your own financial independence. Build your own financial independence. I invite you and I encourage you to book your complimentary consultation. Essentially, scan your code, the QR here. You'll get a complimentary consultation either with myself, Mario, or Ammon, and we're going to be able to help you through the process of identifying what you're missing or what else can you do to complement what you already have. So once again, thank you for your time tonight, and I'll see you at the next meeting. Have a wonderful rest of your night.